Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again.
It's time for the J. Craig 5, maybe 10-minute movie review. Yo! Creed 2, directed by Steven Caple Jr., starring Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, Felicia Rashad, Tessa Thompson, Dolph Lundgren, who am I missing there? Missing somebody in there, Bridget Nielsen, some other people in there. This is the second Creed movie and the 8th Rocky movie, which is pretty cool that we have 8 Rocky movies. Now, I originally saw Creed quite by accident. I had no intention on seeing it. I didn't want to see a Rocky reboot, but Craig and I went to go see Hateful Eight one Christmas, and it was sold out, so we went to see Creed, and we were pleasantly surprised. I thought Creed was better than it ever should have been, and it was really good, and the characters were good, the story was good, and it wasn't just a reboot. And it introduced us to Ryan Coogler, who went on to make Black Panther. Now, in all honesty, I'm not a big Michael B. Jordan fan. I don't like his work. I think he's pretty one note. He's the same guy in every single movie. He's Michael B. Flat. He's just the same guy. He's the same one note character. Now, I did like him in Black Panther as Killmonger, and I thought he did a pretty good job in the first Creed, and it fit his MO. But with Creed 2, you have a movie that takes place after the first one, obviously. It's a sequel. And this movie... when they announced that the elements of this movie were going to have the Dragos, I was really disappointed that they were going to the well so quickly. It doesn't seem earned to get to this point yet, but I get, you got to get people in the theaters, you got a lot of competition out there, and I guess it makes sense, but I just wish they would have waited or at least had a better story to get to this point. So Creed 2 is about Creed. At the beginning of the movie, I'm not giving you any spoilers. It happens early on. He gets the heavyweight championship of the world. He wins it, and so it's not even a big to do. It's a very minor part of this movie is him winning the belt, and then the rest of the movie is about the Dragos who are trying to start a fight with him, and they want a chance at the belt. They want a chance to regain dominance in the sport. They want to return to the homeland of Russia. They want to regain some kind of respect again. There's a lot about the Dragos in this movie that's very interesting. And then the rest of the movie is about Creed deciding whether or not to do this fight, having Rocky on his side, not on his side, and having that inner turmoil about whether or not to help avenge your father's death against a guy who is probably going to kick your butt. So there's some internal struggles in this movie. The stakes are not nearly as high as in Rocky IV Part 1, if you will, because this is, of course, a carbon copy. This is Rocky IV Part 2. But in the first Rocky IV movie, you have so much more at stake. You have the Russia versus USA. You have him killing Rocky's best friend. You have the fact that Rocky didn't do anything about it and didn't throw in the towel when he should have and save his friend's life. So there's a lot of built-up pressure when you get to that fight, and the crowd. Obviously, everyone wanted to see Ivan Drago go down because he was just a villain. He had a face, but it wasn't a faceless villain, but he was just a villain. Pure and simple. There was nothing more about him than that. And that's what this new movie does differently. So while it's a carbon copy of the first movie, Rocky IV Part 1, what they did differently is what I really liked about it. They humanize the Dragos, Ivan and Victor, his son. And I was floored by this approach. They give them character and backstory, and you get sympathy for them. You have a humanized element which makes you understand where they're coming from. They've been kicked out. They've been running. They want to regain respect and dominance and get back to a life that's worth having. And so there's some really cool elements about the Dragos. This movie could have been called Drago, and I would have been down with that. It's much more interesting stuff going on within the Dragos storyline than with the Creeds, unfortunately. And it's about him. So there's struggles between Creed and outside of the ring, but when it comes down to it, that stuff just isn't as entertaining or delightful as the stuff that I'm seeing with the Dragos. So now I saw this movie in a crowded theater with a lot of boxing fans and a lot of high school football players. There's like 2 or 3 rows of football players from high school, local high school team. And so young-minded kids, sports-minded kids, and boxing people loved this movie. They were cheering, they were applauding, they were oohing and eyeing in the final sequence. And even though they were doing that and it was making me enjoy the movie a little bit more, if you know what I mean, I found that to be not deserved. Like in Rocky IV, you wanted him to beat Ivan. He had to beat Ivan, and you were thrilled with that music and the score, and everything was just right on. America! Yeah! This movie doesn't have that. Yes, it's satisfying to see him beat the guy or the family who, killed his father and kind of destroyed his life. So you have that inner struggle between the two characters, but it's not pronounced enough, and it doesn't have that same type of satisfaction as you got from the first Rocky IV movie. But it is entertaining, and I will say that as the problems I have with it, the fact that it's just doesn't have the stakes, and the fact that they're going to the Drago well, and it's a reboot. It's still entertaining. It's a Rocky movie. It's the holidays, so it's a perfect time to go see a movie like this with your family and friends, and you're probably gonna enjoy it. But it's not that good of a movie. Again, the Dragos make this movie work. The elements of that are what I find interesting, and other than that, it's just another reboot, another movie with rebootitis. Force Awakens, A New Hope, Last Jedi, Empire Strikes Back. Of course, I went to Star Wars. What do you think, man? But otherwise, it's just another reboot of a movie that we all love. So if you haven't seen Rocky IV, so the younger generation, go and watch Rocky IV, and then go see Creed 2, so you know what's going on here, or Rocky IV Part 2. So at any rate, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe over here and watch other videos. Hey, like, subscribe, follow, whatever, comment, and happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye now.